What's good with the YouTube? You already know. Big Flocka with a convict's perspective, man. And I'm gonna touch on something that I've seen today. It's kind of a sensitive issue. It's something that's been going on in the social media. There's been a frenzy about it a little bit. It's it's gained a lot of traction over the last few weeks, and that is the tension between African Americans and Mexicanos or raza, particularly down south in Southern California, but also out there in Texas and whatnot, because of a lot of the social media stuff that's been going on. You had Charleston White, sounds like a damn idiot, right? You had the situation with Tyga. Certain people felt a certain way about it, and then you started to see a little momentum, a little bit of traction, and a little bit of correction that was occurred in relations. But I was kind of bothered by something I seen today, and it was on, No Jumper, right? Um, 22 Adam, whatever the hell his name is, right? Who he has a seriously huge following, man. Real connected to a lot of African Americans that are either in the music or whatnot type of field. He does have a few raza on there. But what my issue is with this, right, is okay. He posted something about American Cholo, where there were some comments that were made that were kind of could be considered racial overtones, of course, which I'm not going to sit there and condone or agree with him either. You know what I'm saying? But from my understanding, that whole issue has been in the work in the process of being addressed and being mediated out because there were certain people that felt a certain way about that. And I'm sure that he's addressed it himself. I'm pretty sure he did it yesterday on a particular podcast from a friend that I know that associates with him or someone's channel or something. I don't know the details, right? But it's been addressed. And I think he came forthcoming about there were certain things that were cut up and taken out of context. But hey, I'll let him address that. You know what I'm saying? If there's any racial overtones towards anything, I'm not going to condone or agree with it. Okay, I think anybody can repair certain statements that they make, including AC, including Tyga. That's how you have working relationships. That's how you repair things in communities. Charleston White, he's in left field. You can't save that dude for anything. He speaks bad upon his own race at times. Um, but I want to address, Adam from No Jumper. And this isn't, he's not going to probably respond to anything I got to say. I mean, we're a small platform compared to what he does. You know what I'm saying? But we have a Rasa community that tunes into this channel right here, particularly in California, and that continues to grow and grow and has a voice. As does Gil and what he does. His part, as far as he's been trying to stand up for, things that he thinks are disparaging towards the Rasa, that place them in an inferior category based upon certain actions of other people, and he has a voice. And if there's things that need to be corrected there, then they need to be corrected there. Okay. But we're all individuals and we're going to push the agenda however we got to push it. And for this whole scenario that gets me pissed is that the timing of everything, the timing. Okay. This was placed right after there was some worked out relationships that were, between a couple of individuals. They've been having correspondence. So I think that furthermore, based upon this issue, I'm sure that there needs to be even more correspondence between, those that have social platforms, man, that can put out a message. That's the thing about when it comes to race, whether you're active, inactive, dropout, whatever you are, civilian, right? You're going to feel a certain way when you start to feel like you're being attacked or your race is being labeled like belittled or used as a prop in certain scenarios, no matter what. So this isn't about, Southern California, Northern California, Tejas, active, inactive. This is about people who align or of Raza, linkage, heritage, whether they're from Mexico, Guatemala, excuse my language, El Salvador, all these different locations that have that Latin bloodline, you know what I'm saying, as well as the native bloodlines. People are going to feel a certain way, and being in down south, Los Angeles on Melrose, man, you pretty much are painting a target on yourself, Adam, straight up, because there's a whole lot of barrios barrios down south, man, and you got to realize what backyard you're in, and you got to rethink your actions, because if you're the creation of trying to stir the pot between black and brown, there's going to be a lot of these groups that are going to feel a certain way about that. You know what I'm saying? You got to sit there and walk very, very on tiptoes around that, man, and maybe you need to think things through. I know that you have a big platform. I know that you have a lot of people who support you out that way, but they're not going to support you if the heat comes your way for your fucking actions, man. And that's something that you need to consider. Now, it's not to give any, support to anybody who makes any comments that have racial overtones. Sometimes people have make comments that have racial overtones, but it doesn't mean they're racist. Um, or maybe there's agendas from past. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I've been transparent across the board as far as how I feel. And I don't support any type of remarks that belittle the African American community, or put them in a position to where they're being made fun of. Um, and the same thing with Rasa. I feel the same way about that as well. But the timing on this, man, is just it's something that I didn't like. You know what I'm saying? Maybe wait a couple months and bring this up a couple months from now if you really felt the need to do it, or you should have did it at a time when all this was occurring, so then you can have that working relationship. Because now it looks like a smear campaign. Now it looks like something personal. You know, um, I get it. There's a time to call things out when you feel necessary, but with everything so sensitive and delicate, right? Like, even if there's some stuff that one of these Africanos said in the past, I don't think would be the right time to post any of that stuff online. You know what I'm saying? Let the stuff die down, and then if there's an issue, let them deal with it from there. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna start having people respond. Oh, he thought this, he thought that, F him, and whoa, whoa, whoa. And of course, there's gonna be those out there in the streets that are gonna feel a certain way. They're gonna step up and support. Hey, you ain't gonna talk about the homie that way. You know, I like I said, man, I see a lot of things on YouTube sometimes that are really dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Someone's going to end up eventually getting hurt because of other people's actions. You know what I'm saying? And you got to really sit there and take accountability for what you're doing and what you're not doing. You know, there's a time to be controversial. There's a time to call people out on their shit, and there's a time to do all that. But with everything that's been going on, man, and I've heard about a lot of this is starting to circulate into areas where it could be very dangerous for a lot of people, right? This was not an act of a responsible channel in his actions with a platform that fucking huge and that big, because it's going to fuel people, it's going to pump people up and whatnot. You know, um, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you should have waited, you know what I'm saying, till it was a more appropriate time. But I think American Trollo, I heard from someone that he's addressing all that, and the statements that were made. And, you know, sometimes people, you know, the difference between that, and I'm not defending American Trollo on this, guys, at all, you know, was directed towards just one individual, the remarks that were made. It wasn't directed towards a whole class of people. We know all the different racial remarks that people make about whites, blacks, Mexicans, Asians, and whatnot. But this wasn't directed towards a group or a collective. Whereas other things that have been addressed as a collective and a whole. That's the only thing that's a little bit different. Now, it doesn't mean I think it's justified or right, but I'm just going to clarify that part of it. It's like if you were to sit there and talk about someone, and you're directing them, this is what you feel about them, which the remarks could be derogatory. I'm gonna feel the same way about that. It's not appropriate, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna sit there and knock them as a racist or a hypocrite or whatnot. Whack 100's made a lot of remarks and statements, and he refers to Mexicans in general, not an individual. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it a little bit different. And either way, when you see remarks like that, like what American Trollo made or these other people made, people of that racial ethnicity are going to feel a certain way at times. So I get that, and they, in a lot of sense, have the right to. But I'm interested to see how American Trollo addresses it, because he's pretty much been on top of his game, man, and he's weathered every storm. So I think that hear him out. Like everybody heard Tyga out, hear him out with what he has to say, how he addresses it, and then go from there. You know what I'm saying? Then you could judge. But watching that thing instantly, yeah, I get where he's coming from, but your timing's off right now. You know what I'm saying? There's been that much tension, and it could create a street war so quick, just based upon someone who's not affiliated with none of these groups. You know what I mean? You're not a Crip, you're not a Blood, you're not any part of any gang down south, and you're not a Sureño. You know what I'm saying? And you're playing with fire when you do stuff like that, and that could push your audience away from what you're doing. It's a time for people to bring these issues to the table and have discussions. That's what needs to be done, and this needs to be put out there on every different platform. That, look, man, there may be issues, there may be conflicts, but we can get past this. Because right now, if every time someone's taking 5 steps forward, they take 6 steps backwards. And that's clearly what's happening here. Doing something like that, what's your agenda? What is your motivation behind it? Because ramifications of it could really affect a whole lot of people. Because this isn't no fucking petty fucking shit. You got fucking gang members out there, deep out there in the Southern California, on both sides, that just by egging this issue on could create conflict so much, man. And I think the majority of people, black, brown, whatever, affiliated, non-affiliated, everybody wants peace. No one wants to be at war. Everybody wants to live, enjoy their life, and whatnot. So why add fuel to the fire? You know what I'm saying? Why be the one to do that? You know, um, you know what I'm saying? I've been real quick to call out things when they come forth. You know what I'm saying? Now, with however they deal with this and however it gets resolved, we'll see from there, man. But me peeping this out, man, I just couldn't really comprehend it. Like, do you understand what type of ramifications could come of this? You know, and so we need to look into this a little bit deeper. People need to really kind of refrain from really feeling a certain way, because now you may start having an Africano start talking shit, and next you know they're slinging stuff at Mexicanos, and the Mexicanos are going to clap back, and then next you know violence starts to occur on the streets. So having a platform, there's a responsibility. Yes, there comes a time when you have to call people out, but this maybe your timing was fucking totally off on this. I would have respected if it would have happened at the beginning, so then all those issues could have been fucking resolved right then and there. Because that little video has been out for a long time, and I'm pretty sure he addressed that a long time ago. And I think anybody that does make any disparaging remarks or racial overtones, he has the right to explain themselves and even apologize if they're wrong, like Whack 100 and whatnot. His little statements have started to tone down because I think he's seen the effects of what he was saying out there to people. Um, so race is a very sensitive subject, man. And no matter who's right or who's wrong, that race is always going to feel they're right. And that's where the old, experiences, the old funks, the old issues, the old conflicts start to come out. People put things on the back burner, but it's something like this that will fucking give a kickstart to it. So, before people start to react and get all crazy and the internet gets all frenzied, let's just wait to see how American Cholo addresses this. He's been on top of his game. He addressed this a long time ago. Um, just like everybody gave Tyga a chance to fix the situation. Even people were giving back 100. Hey, man, what do you mean by you speaking on Raza? And he kind of changed his little tune afterwards, man. So, the whole focal point of all this is not to get into situations to where we're creating a war, we're creating division. Not, it's about trying to repair and fix scenarios and situations, man. And my platform isn't big compared to all these other platforms like that, but I got a little following. A lot of us are tuned in. You know what I'm saying? That are down south, that are up north, that could be affected by these remarks, and a lot of African brothers too tap in and are supportive, man. And a couple of them had told me in the comments before, like, hey, you got to call it on both sides when there's Rasa that are disrespecting Africanos. And I believe that there's racial overtones on both sides at times. It's not just the blacks at times making derogatory remarks towards Mexicans. It's also Mexicans doing the same in return. And so therefore these discussions have to be made. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are facing the same struggles. We're trying to survive. We're trying to live, and we're trying to take advantage of any opportunity that's presented to ourselves. It's time to stop bickering, and focus on repairing relationships, bridging that gap. You don't have to always agree 100% of the time, but if you can come to a sense, right, of common understandings, of common interest, and so forth, that's when you get past all the bullshit. It's the same thing that in prison, what we used to train a lot of our soldados was to be able to sit there and build relationships with people, find that common interest. And that's what needs to occur. Find a common interest, then you can go from there and start to address the issues that may be between black and brown. And I think some of it's getting blown out of proportion a little bit worse than what it is. That's my point on this. There's really not as much issues as people are making it out to be. Yes, there's some old timers that maybe harbor a little animosity, black and brown, because hey, they were going at it back in the days. But black go on black and brown go on brown as well. So let's not let these scenarios start to get blown out of proportion. Charleston White, that dude's a fucking idiot, man. There's nothing more to say about that dude. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing positive. There's nothing I can stand and support, man. But these other people, man, I know I've been hard on Whack 100 and deservedly so. You know what I'm saying? He's made some remarks that were kind of stupid. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has a chance to sit there and try to repair their actions and show a sense of we don't have to be in unity, but we could have a mutual understanding. Therefore, less violence, less problems, and more giving back to the community. Because that all this shit starts to sidetrack everybody from positive goals and positive things that are going on out there in the street. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, people are starting to look like they're just a fucking gossip channel for drama. Now, don't get me wrong. I've called people fucking up and they fucking deservedly needed it. You know what I'm saying? And if I get called out and I'm wrong on something, I'll be like, you know what? You got me. That's something I have to look at. So this is just a quick little spiel, man. You know, we'll see what happens from here, man. But everybody, man, don't let everything get blown out of proportion. Keep on continue to stay focused on, if you're out there and you're trying to be proactive, man, there's a lot of people who are starting to take steps forward, and you can't let this offset it. We don't always have to agree, we don't always have to like each other, but at times, man, let's look at the bigger goal. Do we want to stop violence in our communities? Do we want to have better relationships? Do we want to continue stop being suppressed from advancement? Those are the things that need to be focused on, because otherwise, man, everybody's eating at each other, man, and all it does is it becomes a detriment on everybody else. Anyways, this is just my views, my perspective, man, and you know, um, let's see what he has to say about those remarks. I'm pretty sure I heard that he addressed it on a channel recently, and I think he addressed it about it over a year ago. And I don't support those kind of remarks, but it doesn't mean that I don't think a man deserves to explain and fix the situation. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I stand on that. I don't think Gil's a racist dude. I like what he's doing, and I'm supportive of what he's doing. And I think that this is the wrong timing, and that people are seeing that he's gaining traction, and now they want to try to affect that. It's pretty bad when you got a big channel that has that many million people wants to go over a channel that's just starting to get that push and that voice, especially within the Rasa community. So, to me, that makes him look like Adam, like he's anti-Rasa, because he didn't come to the aid when these remarks were made towards the Mexican community. You know what I'm saying? But when it's vice versa, see, you got to have the same type of energy on both sides, and that's why I don't support certain comments that are made by black or brown. You know what I mean? You know, but I understand how things can get blown out of proportion. I understand how emotions, get on the table, and sometimes people, say certain things because they feel a certain way, and I'm not going to be supportive of those of anybody, black or brown. But I want solutions. I don't want problems. I don't want issues, because otherwise we know where this is going to lead. You know. Anyways, your boy Flacco. Gotta say what I gotta say. I'm gone.